AskReddit by Zombie Pimester. Steve Irwin has you pinned down in a headlock. What cool facts does he tell the audience about you and your habitat? Oh, look at this fella. He's of the hairless variety. Rare and silky smooth to the touch. He actually likes when you rub his head. Look at his leg going. Got a good laugh imagining Steve Irwin giving scritches to a bald man on the head. Thanks mate. Wow. Get a load of this Sheila. I can imagine this one spending all of her free time sleeping in her little hidey hole, only coming out 5 times a week to spend hours at a place where she probably regrets being at in the first place, and she'll do this most weeks of her life all the way up until she dies. This one's pretty big for a female too, bigger than most average males actually. Don't think that gives her any luck during the mating season, laughs in Australian. But she'll find a fella who loves every bit of air. Just you watch. I don't care. He calls me a beaut and I really needed to hear it. You're a beaut mate. Oh now looky here. Notice how he seems almost entirely apathetic to my attack. That's because he spends almost every waking moment pretending not to be bothered by the current situation he is in, despite the fact that he is incredibly irritated. To him, this is just another Monday morning staff meeting. He is truly a gorgeous example of mental endurance. This is hilarious and I wish I couldn't relate to it, haha. Isn't he a beauty? You're alright, fella. You're alright. This guy is out looking for a Sheila but he isn't having much luck. He's coming in late to the party. I laughed way harder at that last bit than I probably should have. This little fella looks upset, but he actually craves physical contact. Edit. Lot of you weirdos are into thumbs in buttholes. I was gonna say. Knowing Steve, he would say a lot of nice things and I would just start crying. Oh, be very careful mates. We have to show dominance. If we show any affection towards this creature, he'll get attached to us and never leave us alone. Truly one of the most terrifying beasts in North America. When I was a kid, my parents were about to get divorced, so I spent my time hiding. One day, I was so desperate for some human contact that I sat in a busy place on the playground and looked sad, hoping someone would ask if I was okay. This little bugger simulates reproduction up to 5 times a day. Almost exclusively without a mate. Then I imagine he would shove a Dorito in my mouth and chuck me back into my bedroom. Steve, in a barely audible whisper as he gets low to the ground. The Usqueanus is an endangered fella, meaning there aren't many of them left, and he most likely won't find a mate. Now if you watch air, he's trying to attract a Sheila. 5 minutes of silence as Squeanus stares at his screen, before typing sup to the OnlyFans girl he subbed to. Followed by more dead silence. Better luck next time, little fella. If you see one of these in the wild, it's crucial you give them the space they need, as many of them can be highly poisonous. Crikey. This little ranger is quite the sneaky little one. This particular type of animal can hide in a dark room all day and never even see the sunshine. She will do as much as she can to avoid others of her kind. Edit. I don't remember what he called ginger, so I fixed it. Thank you for correcting me, fellow redditors. Man, are all gingers the same? Same. Oh, this air is a common member of his species, and as you can see he's got a fairly advanced case of fur loss, especially concentrated air at the top of his head. Many males you find in the wild with this condition will try to compensate by growing the fur around their faces, and this fella is no different. This one looks like he spends his days being poked and nipped at by his wee ones. Note the characteristic paunchy belly and the general lack of muscle tone. This fella can spend up to 12 hours a day grazing, and trying to find a nice spot to curl up for some shooty. Edit. Apparently I've accidentally re-imaged Steve Irwin as a 19th century Cockney boot black, but I'm leaving it. The first half of this hits too close to home. Deleted. Hagrid. This one right here can put up a fight if you put a bold Cheetos within the area. Good thing is that this bloke is actually calm because he ate a full bowl of Cheetos. I find it easiest to subdue one of these little fellas by withholding a local treat, empty dew, till it settles down and plays nice. Awesome question. This unusually large example of his species is known to consume enormous quantities of cheese in one sitting. He is a very stealthy creature, with the ability to sit in one spot at a computer for up to 8 hours at a time. Edit. This number has been drastically reduced since the introduction of mate and offspringing to the nest. Do you just like grab a cheese block and chow down? Crikey. This animal lives in a dilapidated bachelor pad and is capable of eating his weight in pudding over a weekend. Edit. Thanks for the gold and the little angel thinge. Deleted. Crikey. This is the biggest Chinese I've ever seen. At a whopping 6 feet 3 inches and 210 pounds, this bugger has a nasty habit of eating all his brother's food. Camera pans to my anemic brother. Fascinating. This creature diet consists of almost all caffeinated beverages. And would you give a whiff of the stench coming from his bathroom? It seems this little creature eats so little fiber that its shits come out as an earthy, putrid gaseous substance. This big guy is quite greasy due to his natural habitat of an engine bay. I believe he is extremely angry due to the loss of all his 10mm sockets. 10mm sockets are a lie propagated by Snap-on marketing department. He's getting quite angry when he's getting poked with a stick. Pokes me with a stick. Dude, fuck off. Nasty fella. Oh, this fine specimen was a hard one to catch. Now, let's look at her. As you can see, changes make her stressed and anxious, thus more aggressive. If provoked, she'll attack on sight. She has the appetite of a great white. She's an omnivore, but eats meat more willingly. One off thing about her diet is that she loves broccolis. She eats anything that's prepared with them. This creature is an easy one to spot, always in the same spot on the sofa, most commonly seen with either a Did or Animal Crossing. This lad drinks too much. Steve, as ye can see, this poor fella's diet consists mostly of Jack Daniels, which makes him relatively harmless in the wild. Poke you Jacks again with a stick. The sad creature tries to fight back with a wave of the arms, then gives up. This makes the boy relatively harmless, so if ya see him in the wild, don't be scared, just wave your arms about to confuse him like this. The sudden arm waving causes Jax again to vomit and roll over, defeated. We have an indigenous person to the Americas out of his reconstructed habitat. They were contained to a small portion of land only for this bugger to free himself from such limited space and find himself tangled in debt. She's a little shy, but we got her. Feed her some sugary breads and she'll calm right down even with a temper. Now her primary predator is a spider. Once they see her they go right for her. In response she will aggressively scream at it until another of her species comes by to kill it. This one has been known to scream for at least 5 minutes straight even in the middle of the night. As you may have noticed, I caught this one on her own. That's because she screams at spiders while her neighbors and roommates are asleep. Because of the general mess of the surroundings, you might be surprised to know that this little fella here actually built or repaired almost all this surprisingly nice furniture in this place. This species is tasteful, yet disorganized. I don't have an answer to this, but congrats. This is probably the best question ever asked on Reddit. This whole thread has made me laugh again and again. I'm really upset that most of these comments boil down to I'm a fat, lazy incel that just sits at my computer all day. Steve would love each and every one of you and he'd have lots of interesting stuff to say about you. Even if you are a fat, lazy incel. Much more along the lines of jumping down on the couch next to you or throwing you in a back hug. Have to let the camera see your pretty face. Look at this right boat. This shiny coat means she's been jetting good brushes lately. Good girl. Eating well, aren't ya? Looks like she was here sunning herself. This particular species is known to lack vitamin D, so we're just gonna to put her right back in her lawn chair to keep warm. Crikey, what a find. Now looky what we ate here. This gorgeous specimen is genuinely happy. A real gem to find in its kind's age range. Whoa boy whoa, this one's got some confidence alright, and look at its gut. A true king here. I tell ya, a real chippy one this one. And X200B. I am happy and I know that's not cool here. PLZ don't downvote too much thank you semicolon. This animal's nipples are the size of small dicks, blimey. Pics for proof. Username checks out. Amazing. This lazy bastard hasn't done laundry in weeks, or checked his email. Are you okay? Oh have a look at this beaut. This magnificent specimen spends way too much time watching The Office. Lol upvote cause I'm rewatching The Office as I write this. I just got to Dwight's Mussolini speech. This animal sleeps 12 hours a day and looks at different sizes of screens in the time he is awake. Now the trick to not being overpowered by this wild beast is to hold your breath. It emits a noxious fume that will render you unconscious if smelled or induce vomiting if tasted. Here we have a wild ewe capped in bravados. Once a bravados reaches sexual maturity, it engages in a mating ritual known as making mashups, resulting in Nickelback mixed with Mario Bros and Vaporwave. https://www.youtube.com/watch?vigcxfdvjyu close bracket. Crikey, we got a big one. We've just caught a 220 pounds degenerate weeb from its habitat known as the bedroom. This fella eats instant noodles and rice only and sleeps with its figurines, Rem and Astolfo body pillows. When it do sleep, that is this kind of weeb with especially what's going on in the world. Can watch 3 seasons in a day and still have time to play games instead of finishing its homework. Welp Imma, let this beauty go back to its natural habitat now. Me. THX Stev. The North American neckbeard. He must have run out of chicken tenders and left his nest in search of more. They're fierce shitposters but lack necessary survival skills for the wild. Usually a Karen, their mother, will do the scavenging for them due to their lack of competence. Crikey. This one's a beaut. Now don't pay the thrashing any mind. This Sheila gets very confused when having to interact with any human, but if she broke free there wouldn't be any danger. She'd just stare awkwardly for a few minutes before scurrying off. Now what's really weird about this animal is the spikes. Clearly they were meant at some point for self-defense, but easing of selection pressures for this species has meant these spikes are almost completely pliant. Sometimes this poor Sheila's spikes can bend completely and stab her when she's trying to defend herself. Look at this handsome devil. It's a little known fact that this fella is capable of aperiting on as little as 3 hours of uneasy sleep. I've also observed him eat an entire mixing bowl of fried rice, passing out for the night, then waking up and still being hungry. Crikey, I know it's hard to imagine, but this bloke makes it look easy. Honestly, I'm just scrolling through and looking for any comment by you, your daily devil at this point. Here's one. Seriously though, thanks. It was a ton of fun to make dumb jokes on an hour I had off, and damn glad you enjoyed some of them. Have a good one, man. You made my day. Why, ain't she a bitterbit? Gave up right quick, didn't she? This on here dyes her hair a vibrant red color, because other members of her species compliment her on it every time she leaves her burrow. Which is important, as it encourages her to fight against her depression. That's a good girl, off with ya now. After he lets me go, I'd probably find a place to take a nap. My stamina is quite shitty, Struggling would have drained me very quickly. Deleted. 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 Now, this little creature is always looking for solitude and a way to escape human activity, so you can tell she's right pissed at me. Look at her ears. You can usually find her hiding out in the woods and are usually ng around the underbrush. However, we can't just let her do what she likes. We're gonna move her to a new spot with loads of her kind, cause I believe socialization is real important. Crikey. Look at the sexual dimorphism on this bloke. Look at them big beautiful whiskers on this adult male. We could take a look at his dangly bits to be sure, but it's typically only the males that exhibit this feature. Another thing I notice right off the bat is this is one of the most pale examples I've had the pleasure of dealing with. These humans tend to be very adaptive to their environments and come in all kinds of shapes and colors. The pale skin tells me this fella is likely nocturnal or at least spends most of his time hiding from the sun in some kind of den or cave or something. Notice the prehensile thumb and the orange powdery coloring at the tips of his fingers. This likely means cheetahs are his primary food source. Humans tend to be omnivores and will eat just about anything. You're a big guy, aren't ya, mate? Alright, he's thrashing around quite a bit. I think we've stressed him out. I'm going to let him go. Look at him run. He's not very fast, but look at the way he raises up on his hind legs to get around. What a beaut. Deleted. Nao, this fella is long and lean, which would have suited him in his previous habitat, but he has had a bit of a spat with his feisty Sheila, and now he lives out here in what we call a trailer in the woods. These normally social animals can become very standoffish if they endure trauma like this. Poor bloke. Keep an eye on this Sheila. If the mood gets her right, she'll bite your head off, not with her teeth, but with sarcasm.